Intro. There is a hidden art in the way a man speaks, not in the words themselves, but in the silence between them. Every man who seeks to awaken desire in a woman must first awaken it in himself, for desire is not born from lust or showmanship, but from the stillness of one who knows his own worth. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." But most men look outward, hoping to find validation in glances and admiration. The wise man, or the Stoic, looks inward. He knows that the most magnetic force in the world is self-control. The modern world calls him a playboy, a man who knows how to attract, how to lead, how to command emotion. But in truth, the real playboy is not one who plays with others. He plays life itself as an instrument. He understands timing, tone, patience, and energy. He knows how to ask questions that draw a woman into the depths of her own mind, where desire begins and admiration grows. So what are these 7 questions? They are not tricks. They are reflections, tools forged from ancient philosophy and modern psychology. Each question is a mirror that reveals not only her, but you. And as Marcus Aurelius would say, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. So dye yours with wisdom, presence, and calm confidence. Because desire, when built from depth, doesn't fade and it evolves. Let us begin. The mirror question. The first question is not meant for her lips, but for her soul. When you speak to a woman, do not rush to impress. Instead, invite her to reflect. Ask, what kind of energy do you feel most at peace with? This is not a common question. It does not flatter. It awakens awareness. Most people never think about the energy that surrounds them. Yet everything they feel, every attraction, every comfort or discomfort, begins there. When you ask this, you are not just showing interest. You are showing depth. You are saying without words, I am not here to chase your beauty. I am here to understand your nature. Aurelius would remind us. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. By asking about energy, you invite her into a realm most men never touch. The realm of thought, emotion, and vibration. She begins to see you differently. Not as another man seeking attention, but as one who listens. And that is the rarest form of desire, to be understood without judgment. Women are drawn not to mystery, but to clarity wrapped in mystery. They crave the man who sees what they feel before they speak it, and when you guide a conversation toward reflection, you silently position yourself as that man, grounded, attentive, and internally abundant. Remember, attraction begins where anxiety ends. So let your calm be the invitation. Let your question be the mirror that reflects her truth, and your mastery of silence. The freedom question. The second question touches something deeper, the desire for freedom. Every soul, man or woman, seeks liberation from expectation, fear, or the chains of their past. So when the moment feels open, ask her, when do you feel the most free? And what stops you from feeling that way more often? Pause after asking. Let silence do what words cannot. Because silence in conversation, like still water, reveals what lies beneath. This question is powerful because it speaks to the inner conflict, the one that lives in everyone. When she answers, she is not performing. She is revealing. She is opening a window to her inner world, and for a moment she feels seen. Marcus Aurelius taught, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." This question honors that wisdom. It reminds both of you that true freedom begins not in changing circumstances, but in mastering perception. Women feel desire not for the man who offers them a cage of comfort, but for the one who inspires liberation, the man who shows her that freedom is not rebellion, it is understanding. That control is not dominance, it is harmony. And as she speaks, don't interrupt. Listen with your presence. Aurelius would say, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. In this context, it means do not become like other men who rush to fill silence with noise. Be still, be grounded. Let her voice echo in that quiet space you hold, and she will feel your strength in your stillness. For women, remember the way a man makes them feel seen. And when she senses that your curiosity is genuine, unhurried, unpossessive, she will associate your presence with emotional safety. Safety that sparks admiration, admiration that becomes desire. The truth is, the man who asks from depth triggers something timeless. Because attraction is not born from appearance. It is born from energy, and energy reflects thought. When your thoughts are clear, calm, and sincere, they vibrate through your tone, your eyes, your words. That is Stoic magnetism. Attraction without effort, power without noise. So let your words be few, your pauses intentional, and your awareness sharp. Ask not to gain but to understand. For when understanding becomes your language, desire follows naturally, like the tide to the moon. The shadow question. Every person carries a shadow, the quiet part of themselves they rarely reveal. It is shaped by loss, guilt, fear, and the moments they pretend never happened. But Marcus Aurelius once said, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. To live as a Stoic is to face one's own truth, not to escape from it. The third question invites her into that truth. What's something you've learned the hard way, but you're grateful for it now? This is not small talk. This is soul talk. You are not asking for gossip. You are asking for growth. And that difference is magnetic. When a woman answers this, she revisits a chapter of her story, one filled with emotion, lessons, and pain turned into wisdom. In that moment, you are not an observer. You are a witness. And when a woman feels witnessed without being judged, her armor begins to soften. Desire doesn't live in perfection. It lives in vulnerability. And Stoicism teaches that vulnerability is not weakness. It is self-awareness. To see your scars and still smile is strength. To speak your truth and still be calm is mastery. When she tells you what she's learned, listen not for the event, but for the emotion beneath it. Every story has a pulse. Listen for that heartbeat. You'll notice her tone shift, her eyes soften, her guard loosen. In that space, you don't need to prove yourself. She will already feel the difference between your depth and the noise of others. For the Stoic man, curiosity is not strategy. It is sincerity, and sincerity cannot be faked. You are not collecting answers. You are collecting understanding. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." In conversation, this means, don't talk about empathy. Embody it. Let her feel that you are grounded enough to hold her truth, because the one who can hold emotional gravity without breaking is the one who becomes unforgettable. The passion question. There is a fire inside every human being, the thing that keeps them alive when the world turns cold. Some call it passion, some call it purpose, some call it soul. Whatever its name, when you help someone touch that flame, they feel alive. The fourth question reaches for that inner fire. What makes you feel most alive? And when was the last time you felt it? Notice how the question does not flatter. It invites energy. It tells her, I see you not as someone to entertain me, but as someone who carries meaning. You are awakening a forgotten part of her. The part that longs to feel passion, not performance. Marcus Aurelius said, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." You're reminding her of this truth, that life is sacred, and passion is its proof. As she speaks, she'll reveal what moves her, what excites her, what she secretly dreams of. Most men talk to women about themselves. The wise man talks to her about her fire, because when she speaks about what she loves, she's not pretending and she's glowing. And if your presence encourages that glow, she will associate your energy with aliveness. Attraction is not about looks or words. It's about resonance. When two frequencies align, the calm of your grounded mind and the warmth of her awakened spirit, desire becomes effortless. And here's where Stoicism shines: to attract through peace, not pursuit; to influence through stillness, not strategy; to lead without needing to be followed. When she shares her passion, you don't have to impress. Simply hold space, smile gently, be where your feet are. In that simple act, you become the rarest kind of man, the one who doesn't seek to own her energy, but to honor it. And the paradox of desire is this: the more you honor, the more it deepens. The less you chase, the closer it comes. That is the Stoic secret. The flame burns brighter when it's not suffocated. The time question. Time, the most silent of all teachers. It moves without pause, yet it leaves its fingerprints on everything we love. Marcus Aurelius meditated on time more than anything else. He said, "Do not act as if you had 10,000 years to live. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good." The fifth question reflects that eternal truth. If you could relive one day in your life exactly as it happened, what day would it be? This question does something subtle and powerful. It takes her mind back to emotion. The human brain cannot separate memory from feeling. When she recalls that day, she feels it again. The laughter, the warmth, the beauty. And who guided her there? You did? Through calm curiosity. You are not manipulating emotion. You are inviting meaning. And that difference defines character. A Stoic never uses wisdom as a tool for gain. He uses it as a bridge for connection. This question reminds her that you live with awareness of time, that you value moments, not just outcomes. In a world of distractions and surface-level talk, such presence is magnetic. And as she answers, something else happens. She begins to associate you with the emotions she's reliving. This is the psychology of bonding, shared emotion through reflection. The Stoic way is not to steal attention but to center it, to make the moment meaningful without force. As Marcus wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." Your calm voice, your listening eyes, your gentle curiosity, they create space for connection to bloom. And when that happens, desire no longer needs to be triggered. It arises naturally, because the man who understands time understands attraction. He knows that nothing worth having can be rushed. He knows that the deepest emotions grow in silence, and he knows that the one who values the present moment already possesses what others chase. So when you ask this question, do not look for a perfect answer. Look for the spark in her expression, the one that says, "I remember what it feels like to be alive." That spark is where connection begins, and when a woman feels seen, understood and unhurried, she does not decide to feel desire, she simply does. The vision question. There is one force that defines every great man: vision. It's not the ability to see the future, but to shape it through clarity and discipline. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "A man's life is what his thoughts make of it." This isn't just a philosophy, it's a law of attraction rooted in awareness. So the sixth question touches that very core. What kind of future do you want to create for yourself? And what kind of person do you want beside you while building it? It's not a question about fantasy. It's about direction. When you ask it, you move beyond surface charm into legacy. You are saying, I am not here for distraction. I am here for destiny. This question awakens her higher self. Most people live day to day, reacting, not creating. But when someone asks them about their future, their mind shifts from chaos to clarity. You've become the catalyst for introspection. And in that role, you are no longer a stranger. You are the mirror that reflects her potential. Aurelius believed that a wise man does not chase, he aligns. He wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When you ask this question with sincerity, she begins to see the colors of her own mind. And the man who asked it becomes tied to that moment of awakening. Desire is not only physical, it's intellectual, emotional, spiritual. Women are drawn to the man who reminds them of who they could become. Not because he pushes, but because he believes. As she speaks of her dreams, listen, truly listen. Don't analyze. Don't advise. Just absorb. When your silence carries presence, it becomes more powerful than words. You create a space where her vision feels safe, where ambition doesn't need to shrink to fit into comfort. And when she finishes, respond with something simple, grounded, and stoic. That's a beautiful direction. It sounds like it's coming from a very strong place. Never overpraise. Stoicism values moderation, not exaggeration. By acknowledging her strength, not her beauty, you trigger respect. And respect deepens attraction. Because at her core, every woman desires a man whose energy makes her expand, not shrink. A man who listens as though her soul is worth hearing. That is masculine calm. That is stoic magnetism. The man of vision doesn't need to convince. His presence already speaks of purpose. And that is what she feels when she answers this question. The silent echo of a man who lives by principle, not impulse. The truth question. The final question is the simplest and the most revealing. It cuts through illusion, pretension, and masks, because all attraction, all connection, all emotion begins with truth. What do you value most in people? And what do you struggle to find in most of them? This is not a test. It is a doorway. It asks her to reveal the code she lives by, the compass that guides her spirit. Some will answer honesty, others will say loyalty, peace, or depth. But whatever she says, you will hear who she is. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth." This question embodies that same humility, the courage to explore truth, not defend ego. When she answers, she steps into authenticity. And authenticity is the root of desire that lasts, because beauty may attract attention, but truth holds it. At this stage, your energy is no longer of a man who wants something, it's of a man who is. Calm, centered, and curious, the kind of presence that feels safe enough for vulnerability, yet strong enough to hold intensity. When she shares what she values, she's indirectly telling you how she wants to be loved, respected, and understood. And when you acknowledge that, you create emotional resonance, the kind that lingers long after words fade. For the Stoic man, truth is never a performance. It is a practice. You don't ask questions to manipulate, and you ask them to connect. You don't seek control, you seek clarity. And clarity is power. Power that doesn't shout. Power that breathes. The Stoic truth of desire, Marcus Aurelius once reflected, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. The same is true in attraction. What people call game or technique is merely perspective, shallow reflections of deeper truths. Real attraction, timeless attraction, is built on awareness. When you learn to observe, to listen, to be still in the presence of another soul, you transcend the surface. You stop chasing validation and start embodying value. The 7 questions you've heard are not strategies. They are pathways. They guide conversation from the ordinary to the meaningful, from shallow to soulful, from words to presence. Aurelius taught that the only true wealth is contentment with oneself. And when you are content, calm, patient, detached, your energy becomes magnetic. You attract not through need but through essence. So when you speak with a woman, remember, it's not the question that matters most. It's the state of the man asking it. If your voice is steady, your heart aligned, and your mind free from expectation, every word you say carries depth, and depth is what stirs emotion, not noise, not charm, not strategy. Desire in its highest form is not about possession. It's about recognition. It's when 2 souls mirror each other's truth for a brief, timeless moment. And when that moment comes, be grateful, not greedy. For a Stoic knows, what comes must be received without clinging, and what leaves must be released without resentment. That is the essence of masculine peace. So remember these words, not as lessons to memorize, but as reflections to live by. Ask to understand. Listen to feel. Speak to connect. And move as though every interaction is sacred. Because one day, when the noise of the world fades and only presence remains, you'll realize the real mastery was never in how you attracted others. It was in how you learned to understand yourself. And that understanding, calm, unshakable, timeless, is the truest form of desire.